Hi, I'm Jamie Lewis and welcome back to thebassist.net. Today I'm going to demo the new C4 synth pedal from Source Audio. A couple of weeks ago I did a live stream where I just explored some of the different sounds on this pedal with you in real time. And speaking of the live stream, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click on the little bell icon to make sure you get notified the next time I go live. Right! And after having spent another couple of weeks with it, I'm finally ready to do a full demo review video. So don't go anywhere. I know you want to see this. So I guess a good place to start would just be in the most obvious context, which is to emulate the sound of a synth bass from those classic 80s dance tracks. And the next thing I would want to hear is what this thing sounds like in the context of, say, a modern EDM track with that huge, just larger than life, super produced bass tone. All right, next let's talk about tracking. And this can be kind of dicey when you're talking about these kinds of pedals because there's a conversion process that needs to happen. There's a little computer in here and it takes your sound and turns it into zeros and ones and then turns those zeros and ones back into sound that comes out of it. And anytime you do that, you're gonna run into some latency or the opportunity for there to be a misinterpretation of what you're playing. So how does the C4 stack up in this context? Whoa! Not really an issue at all, which, by the way, is definitely the case with any synth or octaver pedal. You've always got to kind of adjust your technique a little bit to, accommodate for those problems that I was just talking about. And this felt very natural to me. I didn't have to change too much of the way that I play in order to get this to track perfectly with me. And there's also a way to tap into this pedal, either by using a computer or your smartphone, where you can adjust some of the different parameters, and one of them is the tracking speed. Next, let's talk about sustain, which is really important with pedals like this, because like on a synth bass, I can just hold that note forever and it'll never go away. But on a bass guitar, when I strum that string, it vibrates and then eventually it stops and we lose our tone. So how does the C4 deal with that? That's honestly plenty of sustain for me, but if you needed for it to keep going longer, it's really easy to just keep playing like quarter notes or whole notes, and you can mask it over the downbeat with a kick drum or something else so that you don't ever hear the attack. And if you're wondering whether or not the C4 synth can do polyphony, the answer is definitely yes. And to be honest, this was kind of unexpected for me because in my brain, when I think of synth, it's always monophonic. But this thing does chords just fine and without any of those gargling artifacts in them. Okay, next let's talk about features. And I know it doesn't look like it has very much, but trust me, there's a lot going on under the hood. So on the surface, you can see there's a stereo input as well as a stereo output. We have 4 knobs up top, obviously the stomp button, and a toggle switch. The 2 inputs allows you to connect 1 stereo instrument or 2 mono ones if you have different outputs for like a 4-string bass and a 5-string. The 2 outputs, same thing. It can be a stereo send, or you can send 1 output to 1 amp, another one to a DI or a 2nd amp or something like that. The toggle switch goes between presets, so you can have 3 different presets that you can switch between. And the 4 knobs are actually assignable to any parameter you want. And let's actually talk about that for a second, because I know it looks like a very easy, simple pedal to use, and it definitely is, but it can get infinitely complicated once you tap into it using a smartphone or the Neuro desktop app. Now, just like with most of the other pedals that Source Audio makes, you can get in here and tweak away until your heart's content. I'm not going to go over all that stuff here because I actually went through a lot of it in the live stream. So if you're interested in all the different things it can do, just click on this link right here and you can scroll through the live stream and check it out. But I think the most important features to mention, number one, is the ability to save and recall 128 different presets on this thing. And again, you would be able to change them using a computer or your smartphone or even the Neuro Hub, which is another pedal that Source Audio makes. There's a bunch of different routing options. You have independent input and output control. There's 4 different synth engines or 4 different voices that you can tweak away. And also there's even a Source Audio community where you can share and download presets that other people have made. Here's some popular ones. I like it. Fuzzy Synth. And my favorite aspect of this pedal and all of Source's pedals is the fact that it's MIDI mappable, meaning if you don't want to touch the pedal at all and have it turn on and off or recall different settings or change or whatever, well, you can program that. You can automate it using a DAW like Studio One or Ableton Live. So that's all the good, and for the sake of fairness, let's talk about the bad and the ugly. And the first thing I can think of is pretty much the lack of control that you have on the physical unit itself. So if you're the kind of person that needs to be able to reach down and control any parameter at any given time, then this might not be for you. However, I really don't think that that's the point of this pedal. I mean, you saw how many different parameters you can manipulate using the desktop app, right? So if they were to give you an individual knob for all of those different things, it wouldn't fit on this pedal. It wouldn't even fit on your pedal board. It'd be like 2 or 3 times the size of your entire board.
A what?
So although there's a lack of complete hands-on manipulation on this small footprint, I don't really miss it, and I wouldn't consider it to be a downfall either, but maybe you would. Next, there's something actually that I noticed during the live stream, and that's the fact that if you play octaves going from a low note to a high note, and you connect those together, meaning you play them legato, this isn't going to pick up on it. In fact, it's just going to play the same note twice. Watch what happens. I'm going to play an octave between these 2 notes. But I'm not going to put any space. I'm going to connect them. I'm going to make them legato. Okay, check this out. I'm playing an octave, but you're hearing wow, 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 wow. You're hearing the same pitch. Now, right after the live stream, I called up my friend Nathan Navarro and I asked him what's up. I was like, how come I can't play an octave going from low to high? I can play high to low, but not the other way around. And what he said is that this is actually something that the majority of these types of pedals, octavers, synth pedals and whatnot, most of them have this exact problem. And it's because of like the pitch detecting algorithm that it uses. I don't really know the science behind it. And while that might be annoying, I don't think it's a deal breaker. And again, it is quite common with these types of pedals. So all you need to do if you want to play a legato octave going from the low note to a high note, you need about that much space. It's still going to be staccato, but it's going to be the quickest staccato you can possibly imagine so that it won't misfire. And, you know, again, you just have to adjust your technique a little bit when you're playing these types of pedals. So that might be a little bit annoying, but it's definitely not a deal breaker for me. And honestly, I can't really think of anything else negative about this pedal. I mean, it does everything else that you need it to. It's super easy if you want to be, if you just want to plug in and play. And it's also a tweaker's paradise if you want to log in with your phone or onto the app. That community is super awesome, so you can download amazing sounded patches instantly. It's MIDI mappable, and you can talk to aliens with it. I can't do this. This is so damn good. So I'm a big fan of this pedal, and the only thing that takes it down a notch for me is that octave tracking issue. So I confidently give this pedal a 4.5 out of 5.
Right.
The sounds are amazing. The tracking is almost perfect. The interface is great, and the expandability is impeccable. And plus, look at how big it is, right? all of that massive tone in this small footprint right here. So if the question is, will this have a permanent space in my toolbox? The answer is undoubtedly yes. And I guarantee it's gonna stay there for years to come. Hey, if you like what I do, please give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel by clicking on this button right over here. And if you really like what I do, then come hang out with me at thebassist.net by clicking on this button right down here. Also check out the Bassist Podcast. New episodes go live each and every week. And until next time, I'll see you again here at thebassist.net.